Well, hello, Charger fans. Just wanted to on some things that are kind of interesting. I'm looking at some. Gotta get set up here. There, that's a little better. um, Something I've been noticing. I've been going over the schedule. The Chargers, of course, don't play some teams, not all the teams. So I was looking at the teams that could make the playoffs and who are favorites to make the playoffs and what could happen if what I predicted comes true, and that's the Chargers possibly could go, and I feel like they will go undefeated um, into the playoffs. Everybody seems to be thinking that, or not everybody, but most people seem to be thinking that the team to beat will be the Buffalo Bills. And so I got to thinking, okay, well, what has the Buffalo Bills done in the regular season and in the playoffs um, against the different teams in the divisions? In case whatever team was to play them. So just for food for thought, if the Chargers was to make the playoffs, undefeated or not, let's just say they're in the playoffs, and they play the Buffalo Bills, I don't think the Buffalo Bills want to play the Chargers. Um, Over the past 20 years, I've looked up um, the division and what they've done against the Buffalo Bills. And everybody was thinking, well, the Bills, very good team, and they are. But what have they done against the AFC West? Well, not too good. And the teams have changed. I know that. But the teams have changed over the past 20 years, up, down, sideways, all over the place, right? General managers, coaches, players. So over that span of 20 years, every team has changed. And it hasn't been just the Buffalo Bills or just the Chargers or just whoever. But if you look at it and you say, well, it's, I got to get this turned on. I think that's better now. Now it's better. Okay, we got this thing. I thought I had a glitch. I couldn't tell. It wasn't all the way in. Well, sorry about that, Charger fans. So what I've got is, I'll start from the beginning since that was a mess up. Um, what I've been doing is looking at the teams that make the playoffs. If any of the teams in the West make the playoffs and they play the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Bills are pretty well favorites by most everybody to make it to the Super Bowl. And if you look at it, it's um, it's not looking too good for the Buffalo Bills. Over the past 20 years, I looked up a between the AFC West and the Buffalo Bills, and what I found was pretty striking, really. the The AFC West has a record of 24 wins and 18 losses against the Bills, and most of this was in the regular season. The only two times in the past 20 years that the AFC West has played the Bills in the playoffs, um, the Bills lost. It was Kansas City Chiefs beat them. So that's uh, that's not good, of course. But I was looking also at the regular season, and the team with the best record against the Bills in the regular season for the past 20 years is the Chargers. They're 7-3. So trends tend to kind of linger. They It's hard to break a trend. Um, it's kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs. You'll say, oh, they've got something on the Bills and the Bills can't beat them. It's hard to break that trend. The Chiefs have won 2 playoff games against the Bills in dramatic fashion last year. I mean, that was a crazy ending in overtime. But then if you look into it further of what the the Bills have a difficult time beating the AFC West in general. So it really doesn't matter who the Bills play. If there's somebody from the AFC West, it's more than likely they're not going to beat them. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. They're going to have a rough time no matter who they play, which is usually, if you make the playoffs, that's usually the case. It's tough no matter who you play. But it really kind of sides, the winning percentage sides with the AFC West. And I thought, that's kind of funny. Until I looked that up, I wouldn't have thought that with the Buffalo Bills, because I think, especially, the last 2 years, they've looked pretty good. And I know they had a few stretches where they were a decent team, but it seems like every time they come up against an AFC West team, they don't do too well. They had 1 year back in, let's see, in 2020, they were 3-1. The only team that beat them in the regular season that year were the Chargers. And in 2017, they were 3-1. But they were, let's see, 1-3, 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, 0-4 in 2014. I mean, it just really don't look good. And even though this is a different team, it kind of made me start thinking, well, these teams that people pick to go to the Super Bowl, they have to go through these other teams that give them trouble. And it's just the way it is. I mean, if 9 times out of 10 you're going to play a team, if they make it to the playoffs, you're going to play that team if they're good enough to beat other teams and meet you, whatever position they're in, wild card or division winner. And then if you're a wild card or division winner, if you play them, most of the time you lose. That kind of starts getting into the psyche. You don't have something that you can build on other than the frustration of losing. And the Bills, they're a funny team over the history anyway. I mean, the only team that went 4 years in a row and lost every Super Bowl game. The great team, but it finally gets to the point, I think, that it gets into your head, and you get to thinking, oh my God, I could just imagine what they were thinking back in those days when they were going to the Super Bowl every year. Oh man, here we go. We're going to go to the Super Bowl again. That starts playing on your mind, and until you break that trend, and I don't know what can do it other than just maybe time. Time can change things over time, but they have really got themselves into a mental jam. If you look at it, the last 2 times they've been to the playoffs, AFC West knocked them out of it. Yes, it was the Chiefs. But do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of a trend type of a thing. I know it was just Kansas City the last 2 times, but still, it's an AFC West team. And when I started looking at it, I was kind of surprised that the Chargers had that good of a record against the Bills over the past 20 years. I didn't think they did, but they did. 7-3 record, that's pretty good. And it makes me think then even more that you start thinking, okay, Well, what's causing it? What's causing these games to be, to be lost by these teams? It, it's kind of it's kind of funny. I mean, it's almost like it'll take something crazy to happen, even for them to lose. I mean, just like a flip of a coin, Buffalo should have won. I think they would have won if they would have got the flip of the coin, come all the way down to the flip of the coin, and they lost that and lose the game. So it's a lot to think about. I mean, that's just the luck of the flip of the coin, but still, it's kind of crazy. And so you look at these different things, and you look at what can a coach come in and change your atmosphere and all this kind of stuff. That's why I was thinking of this and looking at this, is because the Chargers coaching staff with Brandon Staley, they have a new way of thinking. It's a new atmosphere. It's a winning atmosphere. It's a winning atmosphere at all costs. Going forward on fourth down and forcing the issue. Um, when you're pushing that hard, you're going to change something. Something's going to change. Either you're going to lose every game, or you're going to win games to maybe put you in a position to be over the top. And that's what it looks like to me it takes, especially like, with a team like Buffalo or Chargers. We haven't Chargers haven't won a Super Bowl. Neither has Buffalo. So if you look at it, it has to change. Something has to change it and force the change. Can it be willed? Yeah. Yeah, you can will your team to a victory. Takes a lot of guts, I mean, everything has to just be, go ahead, put it on my back. We're going to do it anyway. Um, Rarely happens, I think, but I have seen it happen. Um, when you have a gutty operation, gutty play calling coach, I think that does change the way things have been. It looks different, feels different, um, and we'll find out this year how different and how much he's going to put that in place, how much that's going to change, and what it's going to change. Will it go from what I think? I mean, what most people think about a 10-7 team, maybe 11-6, to a team that could be undefeated, like I think. Um, when you've got a a idea that you're pushing, and that idea is kind of revolutionary. I mean, very few teams. Yeah, it wasn't. It's happened in the past. Teams would go for it on fourth down, usually when they were behind. Um, but this coach is a little different. He'll go for it on fourth down, being ahead. Um, I've seen this kind of thing with other teams that were not, going for it on fourth down. Maybe it was we're going to pass rather than run it. We're going to run it rather than pass it. Um, we're going to use our tight ends rather than use wide receivers. New England Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills. I think it was last year, and threw 3 times the whole game. I mean, that's just not done. So when you have that kind of a mentality, when your coach has the mentality, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it this way, and we're going to win doing it this way, and then they kind of prove it, that's really hard to beat. And it starts building not just a confidence, but an atmosphere. And the atmosphere that I saw last year with the Chargers with Staley was we can beat anybody. We can beat anyone. And it's kind of like with the New England Patriots. They're that way. Um, Belichick has that atmosphere where he can beat anyone, and you know it when you play him. He can beat anyone. So, and it's not just because he had Brady. That wasn't Brady that beat the Bills last year. So, this is a different year by a lot of standards. A lot of things have changed this year, even in the draft and the free agency. Um, we've seen a lot of different um, thoughts, mindsets. Not taking running backs till later in the draft. I mean, usually our quarterbacks even there wasn't quarterbacks taken. I think there was not. I think one quarterback was taken. I believe. Can't remember. Um, so it looks to me as um, if the team can do what they're capable of doing, there's just no end in sight to me. So hopefully we'll see this and it'll be an enjoyable year. But I'm seeing this and I'm thinking that it's going to be it's going to be a very very interesting year all the way around, and it's going to be something that I believe um, has a big upside for the Chargers. And the more I look into it with different teams, the more I see a change in this one, and that change is leading me to believe, especially if you look at the what they've been able to accomplish up to this point, I really do believe I don't see how they can really lose any games. They're that good, and if they're that good, who's going to beat them in the playoffs? And then I started looking at that, and I thought, wow, okay. So there's some teams with some stumbling things they'll have to overcome beyond who they're playing. When you have those issues, that's really difficult to overcome. So just wanted to run that by you guys, something I was looking into over the past 20 years with the Chargers or with the Buffalo Bills, since they're the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Just, if you keep it in the back of your mind, okay, well, let's just say the three teams out of the AFC West makes it to the playoffs and the Bills have to play two out of those three. Ain't looking too good for the Bills. Just telling you. just telling you what I think I think is in the past. They'll have to prove it different, which is very difficult to do. So anyway, wanted to run that by you guys, and the next video I'll have will be to break it down on our players that we've gotten on the in the draft, how they're doing. Hopefully, we're not having an issue with one of our players getting signed. I really want him signed, so I hope it all kind of gets all straightened out. And I think it will. But there's one player that I'm kind of a little worried about a little bit, and that's Woods. If he's having a little issue with his contract, I don't know what that would be. They're not letting it be known, but that hopefully not an issue. Maybe it's just a few things that they need to straighten out. But it looks like everybody else in the draft is is looking pretty solid as far as getting signed. But how are they doing? How are they going to do? Who are they going to play? Who are they going to replace? Um, what is our offensive line going to look like? I think it's in the works. It's pretty well cut and dry. It's just now OTAs. What is it going to show? Who's going to come out for that right tackle position? Well, got some answers for you. That'll be in the next video. All right, everybody. Have yourself a good day. Press the like button if you can. And you guys have a great day. Enjoy yourself if you can.